So much of the connection of addiction and pain is related to early childhood experiences, those formative years where we are still developing our sense of who we are. So it's natural that we develop it by attaching to the form of the people that are around us. So if our parents are in pain, as they're in stress, as you shared with your story, your mother not even knowing if she was going to survive, having to give you to family members, and you even talking about her calling the doctor and saying, my son just keeps on crying, like we need to do something. And he's like, all my Jewish baby patients are crying. They're all crying right now.
Yeah,
They're,
this is right after the Nazis occupied Hungary, and all the Jewish babies were crying, and you can generalize this, in any situation where the parents are stressed or under struggling and afraid, the energy is picked up by the kids, and not only is it picked up by the kids thinks it's about themselves, so somehow it's their fault. So some people will grow up with a kind of guilt that they don't even realize what the source of it is. And the source of the guilt is that they didn't make their parents happy. They couldn't have made them happy. It wasn't their job. But as children, we take this on automatically. And so that a huge source of shame and guilt in this world. People say, as addicted people, of course I'm ashamed. No, you were ashamed before you were addicted.
one preceded the other.
Shame preceded the addiction. And by the way, this is true not only for addiction, but all kinds of conditions and all kinds of illnesses, as I've written in my other books, so that our self-concept develops in interaction with our parents. And children are narcissistic. And that, I don't mean that as a negative statement. I mean, in the genuine meaning of the word, they think it's all about them. So Thich Nhat Hanh, the spiritual teacher who I'm sure you know of, he said that the Buddhist teacher, he said that the biggest gift parents can give their kids is their own happiness. And the reason for that is children are narcissistic. If my parents are happy, oh, I must be a great guy. I must be a good person. I must really be lovable. Hey, aren't I just wonderful? But if my parents are stressed and unhappy, guess whose fault it is? If they get divorced, guess whose fault it is? On the unconscious level, it's about me. It's my fault. If my mother was unhappy, it was my fault. Not that it really was, but that's how the child perceives it. And so that sense of shame and failure and guilt, it precedes everything. And it's got nothing to do with who you are and what you've done or haven't done.